What up, Gromies? Alright, check it out. Hey, yo, what up? The name is NerdGrows. I got the buttery turf flows of the way I make these herbs grow. This one's for all my tent homies and my earth hoes.
Yo.
What
are you doing, man?
What?
Start the podcast.
Alright. Hey, what up, y'all? Episode 27 of NerdGrows podcast. So right at the top, I want to tell you that friend of the show, Alebrije Genetics, is having a drop today at 4:20 Eastern Time. This is his release of Drowsy Lobaka. It looks awesome. We got to see a little breakdown of it in the Alebrije newsletter. If you're not signed up for that, make sure you go sign up. I believe he has an email form on his website, which is alebrijegenetics.com. That's also where you can go get more information about today's drop. Now, much like a fetus, I've been growing for 9 months, and I've only ever got one Alebrije drop so far. I got the purple pea, as you all know. Stunned the fuck out of it. I got, I think, like 0.4 ounces off it. I didn't cull it because I wanted to punish myself a little bit. It was a learning process. So I'm really excited for this. I'm going to be right there at 4:19, and then I'll get high, and then at like 4:37, I'll buy it. Nah, this shit sells out really fast, and it's because Alebrije's the shit. So make sure you get there, hit it as soon as you can. Sit there, refresh it if you have to. Let's just blow out his whole website server. Come on. Another awesome thing about this drop is you have plant markers that were made by Nama Potter. We all know makes amazing pottery. She actually sent me a couple things last week, and I love them so much. I got a Day of the Dead bowl, and it's just like so heavy, and it hits so nice. Like, I feel like it hits better than glass bowls that you buy. She also sent me a coffee mug. Keep an eye out if I do any YouTube videos from my desk, because I have it as part of like my YouTube scenery. So I have the mug on the shelf behind my desk, and I have all of these empty pre-rolls coming out of it, like a bouquet of flowers. I'm always looking for like fun ways to organize my stash outside of just using like a cigar box. So now I have like my pre-rolls right there. It looks nice, very aesthetic. But yeah, this drop is amazing. We're seeing multiple creators in the community coming together, and that's what this shit's all about. Good genetics, good bud, good friends. All right, so listen, I'm sick as fuck this week. I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but so I'm probably going to try to make this a quick episode. But at the same time, just to give you all an update, outside of being sick, I feel amazing. So I've been doing punching bag every day for the past week. I've been waking up early and doing it in the morning. That helps me get a lot of stress out. I've actually had a very anxiety-provoking 2 weeks. Just getting to beat the shit out of something feels awesome. I am rusty, though. I fell off punching bag like a couple years ago, so working on getting my form back together. Taking it easy, not trying to hurt myself or anything, but been trying to get a couple hundred punches in every day. Because I'm so out of shape, I can only do like, well, actually I'm increasing. Like, before I get so out of breath, I'm like, all right, I have to stop. But I'm at the point where I won't tell you the exact amount of time I can do punching bag before that happens, because it's very embarrassing. But I've added, I would say probably like 70-ish% onto the time just in the past week. So I'll get there. In a few weeks, I'll be able to get like a full workout in without feeling like I'm dying. With all that said, feels great. I've still been having beers, but I cut back a lot and not having a beer every day, which the big thing I've noticed is like waking up in the morning is so much easier. I'm like a morning person, and then even just having like a can or two of beer, I feel like shit, mostly stomach stuff. But now I'm just waking up and kicking ass every morning. It feels good. One thing I did that was kind of funny, I went to ChatGPT, and I basically told ChatGPT everything I told you about how I like to de-stress from my day by hanging out in the garage for a little bit, drinking and smoking, that I have a punching bag I want to get into. I actually listed all of my workout equipment that I have around my house. And then I was just like, hey, I feel like shit. What should I do? And then I didn't even have to ask it to do this, but it spit out a day-by-day schedule for like the next 3 months, where it was literally like, drink on these days, smoke on these days, exercise on these days, drink this much, smoke this much, exercise this much. And it just kind of like does the whole slow build of the habit. And I haven't been following it exactly, but I just kind of had that schematic in my head now where I'm like, all right, let's have a little bit less here, a little more exercise here. But yeah, I feel awesome. Not there yet, obviously. It's been a week, but definitely good improvements. Just to give you all an update. But yeah, that's really all the housekeeping I have. I'm sick, but I'm improving my health. And we got Alebrije tonight. Shit. It's a good day. All right, so on to my grow. Speaking of Alebrije, my permanent holiday is up to my nipples. I'm up to my nipples in permanent holiday. No, but seriously, this plant is so tall. When I started growing, obviously I was stunning plants, only growing autos and learning how to grow on autos. And I had like different size plants. Like I said before, I had really, really tiny ones. I've had like bigger ones, I guess. The biggest one I've had so far was the Compton Kool-Aid, which was my last grow. And I got like almost 5 ounces off of it. That was really big for me. That's what she said. So I thought I was doing really good. But holy crap. The permanent holiday and the Wizard Stash remix are like dwarfing everything I've grown so far. So what I thought was like a big plant. So what I'm looking at right now is what was previously a big plant for me is like a medium now. So permanent holiday is on day 30 and Wizard Stash remix is on day 33 and they're already bigger than anything I've ever grown so far. I know we talked about this last episode. I can definitely say now that underwatering was my big issue. And for the past 2 weeks, I've just been running gallons of water up and down out of the grow room, and shit's been popping off really hard. We got Mango Smile on day 62, so we're a couple weeks away from chop. It's looking beautiful. It's starting to get the orange color on the leaves, and it's just getting super fat. It's looking great. Ice Latte's on day 56. It's also looking good. It's very small. It's very small, but very dense. I had to like check it out yesterday. All right, so here's what happened. I opened my tent a couple days ago and everything is soaked, right? Like there's beads of condensation going down the walls and everything. And my humidifier is not even running at this point because of the threshold. It's running a little bit, but nothing crazy. It's just insane transpiration, I guess. And then I don't have my exhaust set correctly. And that's my fault. Like, I'm getting to the point in the grow where I should have reassessed my controller settings. And that's something, if you use AC Infinity, like, yeah, you can set it and forget it, but you should go in and look at your plants and look at your settings and adjust it at least a couple of times throughout your grow. So I was able to resolve the issue. The way I have my tent set up is I have the exhaust set to ramp up based on temperature. So the hotter it gets over a certain threshold, the more the exhaust turns on. It doesn't just go right to 10 immediately. I think I have it set to a scaling of 2. So for every 2 degrees over the threshold, the exhaust goes up by 1. And then I have my humidifier set to chase VPD. And it works out pretty well. So like the tent never gets too hot, and then the humidifier only kicks on if it needs to be. So to alleviate the condensation problem I was having, I set my exhaust to be on at 1 all the time. Still having it set to the ramp up of 2, but it's always on 1. So it's constantly pulling air out just very slightly. And since nothing in my tent is seedling or early veg anymore, I upped the VPD on the humidifier, and that seems to work out well. It's not getting too dry, but it's also not soaked. So with all that said, the Ice Latte is very, very dense. So with having it being overly humid in the tent for a whole day, or however many hours it was between I checked it, I checked my tent like every 12 hours-ish. I'm a little bit worried that in that 12-hour period, maybe a little too much moisture got in, so I'm worried about bud rot or mold, stuff like that. I checked it out yesterday. I didn't see anything, but this plant is so dense that like a lot of the buds are touching each other. I'm constantly trying to rearrange the branches so they have a little breathing room, but it looks good. Like I said, it's small, but it looks good. But yeah, that's my grow. I got 2 giant plants in pre-flower. They got their Guy Fieri on. I don't know who came up with that, but that's fucking hilarious. I think I heard Johnny say it on Yag. That's how I'm going to teach people how to grow from now on. I'm like, all right, when the plant looks like Guy Fieri, you're about to go to Flavortown. The fuck? All right, so I haven't been watching much TV or anything this week, so I don't really have a pop culture segment for you. I will say that I'm really excited that tomorrow starts the Fallout themed battle pass for Fortnite. And I get the itch to play Fortnite like a couple times a year, especially if they have a good battle pass like this. So I'm just going to start smashing on that. I'll let you know about it next week. That'll be the pop culture segment for next week. But for this week's topic, I wanted to talk about why we homestead or why we're interested in homesteading. Now, I know when you hear the word homesteading, you usually think about, like a settler going out to an open field and building a house. And that's not really a thing anymore, as every inch of the earth is owned by somebody at this point. But the more modern definition of homesteading is setting up your property to be as self-sufficient as possible. And for a lot of us, that begins with learning how to grow cannabis or having a garden in your backyard and then kind of going from there. And it's something I've always been interested in. I've actually, over the past year, I've been seeing articles pop up where they're saying that like computer technology guys are turning back to the land more often. And I definitely fit into that camp. I don't know why other people are doing it, but I have a few reasons myself. Now, I'm not scared of AI. I think it's going to be awesome as it continues to develop. I think it's really going to revolutionize our society, which I'm sure will have negative side effects, but overall, I'm pretty optimistic. However, AI coming around is getting rid of a lot of jobs on the internet. So I think for a lot of us, we're looking into the future and seeing our side hustles drying up because we're going to be replaced, which is fine. The joke I always say is no one's crying over VCR repairmen, right? When DVDs came out. But yeah, industry changes and you have to adapt. But I think a lot of us lifelong computer internet guys are starting to see how the future is going. And also the internet, let me tell you, and this is probably my old ass speaking, but the internet was a lot cooler before the average person could use it when it was just computer people. But yeah, the internet's garbage now. It's just like nonstop bots and advertisements and crazy stuff. So at least from my perspective, I think a lot of us are getting burnt out from the computing side of things, and gardening and doing other things helps a lot. But that's just me personally. There are a lot of reasons why people would want to homestead outside of being a computer nerd. One big reason that I think is pretty popular now is economic concerns. So we've had a lot of inflation over the past couple of years in the United States, at least, and it's getting a lot harder to acquire wealth. Not even wealth as an extravagance, but just to be comfortable. So I think the reason why a lot of people take on homesteading style projects is to relieve a bit of the burden of having to rely on businesses around you for everything. And that's a big interest of mine, is learning how to make stuff at home so I don't have to go out and buy it. And I'm new at this, but we've discussed things that I have. Like I have my own rosin press. A lot of the stuff I have right now is just so I don't have to go to the dispensary. But I also have water distillers, so we don't have to buy jugs of water anymore. Keep an eye on our YouTube because Grateful's been preparing some videos about how to make different gardening things at home from scratch. But yeah, you could save some money by making stuff yourself at home. You're essentially trading money for time, but if it's something that you're passionate about or interested in, then the time is also, entertainment and learning provides other benefits than just trading time for money, like what most of us do at our jobs. And along the same lines, the second reason why a lot of us homestead or are interested in it is environmental issues. A good example is the water distiller that I have. Before I bought it, my house was just filled with empty plastic jugs. So with this little appliance, I was able to drastically reduce my plastic waste for my household. And I've been trying to do other little things like that to reduce waste, like using water bottles instead of bottled water, which I was never really a big bottled water person. I always use water bottles, but a lot of time, like I've been buying drink packets instead of like sodas and energy drinks because, the little paper packet is probably not better, but less harmful to the environment than a whole can or a plastic bottle. Just little things like that. But yeah, taking on homesteading projects on your own property. So not only are you replacing the item you would have bought from the store, but you also have no packaging, shrink wrap. You're not using gas in your car to drive to and from the store, all of that. And along the same lines as computer guys turning back to nature, I think all of us could do that a little bit. Get off the internet a little bit more. A lot of us are dominated by social media in our phones. It's probably not the best for our mental health, at least when compared to growing your own food or doing your own projects. I tend to think about it in terms of like validation, right? Where we use social media to kind of get validation from others. I mean, that's a big part of being in a community, right? Where doing projects for yourself and for your family, you can get self validation and pride in your own work, which I think is far more important. And by no means am I saying that I'm perfect with this. I'm not even good at this. I'm a beginner. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about the thoughts that have been going through my head the past few months and kind of what my goals are and what my philosophy is going to be looking into the future. Also, I'm always trying to learn like little things you can do at your house. So if you have something that you make, let me know because I want to add it to the repertoire. That's kind of what I'm doing right now is like, so now I have the outdoor garden. I didn't give an update this week because they're all basically just seedlings, but everything's coming in nicely. I have the indoor cannabis garden, and I have a couple of things that I do here and there to be self-sufficient. So I think the next step for myself, at least, is I want to add more and more little things to my repertoire and just keep building on it as time goes on. But yeah, my throat's already fucking killing me, so I'm gonna get out of here. Alebrije dropped tonight. AlebrijeGenetics.com. I'm up to my nipples in cannabis plants, and we're learning how to homestead a bit better. All right, until next week, peace, y'all.